Another week has passed, so it's time to see the best suggestions of the week. The first suggestion is by MC Village World. Throwing an IO vendor while in the end will lead you to the nearest end gateway. The worst part of exploring the end is just trying to get out. Either you walk back hundreds if not thousands of blocks to the gateway you come from, or you take your chances at finding a randomly generated one in a sea of identical endstone islands. The player should at least have some control over being able to return home. If you come prepared with extra eyes of Ender, it should lead you to the nearest gateway. The real Bing Bing wrote, "Good use, because after opening the portal and making Ender chests, there's no other use, and end crystals." Saint Arc Weather responded, "Finding multiple portals is useful, though for a quick transportation. I have an outpost 10,000 blocks away from my main base near the end portal, instead of traveling all the way back via Overworld or Nether. I can just jump through the end portal and it sends me back home. Sure, it only works one way, but it's much faster than any other method in that direction." The next suggestion is by Mr. Coolcat Gaming. Elytra should have a duplication recipe similar to armor trims. As we all know, the Elytra is not renewable, but also the best transfer method in the game. But there is a finite supply, which may not matter to some players, but unlike the final tier of tool armors, the Elytra is prone to burning, which does kind of make said tool and armor buff a little redundant, since losing an Elytra would be more of an issue than losing netherite, especially in cases of servers, since it's also structure locked. Even hurts in single player worlds, as more chunks loaded not only increases chances of corruption, but also means farther to explore in cases of a potential end update in the future, or anything added relying on new end chunks, and not everyone has the tools or feels right chunk trimming. The goal of this recipe is to give them an option to duplicating the Elytra, keeping the current requirement to find one at the end city, similar to how shulker shells are renewable as long as one shulker exists, so on Bedrock. However, keeping the exclusive rarity, the phantom membrane is self-explanatory. It makes a wing-like shape of the material used to repair an Elytra. Then, the dragon breath introduces a sort of magic to it, while also being end-locked. Also requires a dragon to get, so currently it isn't often used, but this may make it worth collecting. Of course, like how banners work, it doesn't consume the Elytra, but also gives an Elytra. Since an Elytra is unstackable, it can't work like trim duplication. However, I think it would be better if trims also work like banner duplication anyway. Petrified Bloom wrote, "This is functional. I like that you need to have an Elytra already and be willing to fight with the dragon to get more. It's not progression breaking, requiring phantom membranes reinforces their current uses and means you will actually want them around every now and then, which is cool. The first one isn't really it. Only data in active memory can get corrupted. The drawback is increasing world size. Needing to explore further for new content is the main drawback in the end, since people don't tend to build or modify much in the end." The OP responded, "I'll admit I don't know exactly in depth how that works. I have definitely heard bigger world size does increase chances of things going wrong, but exploring farther for new content is definitely bigger worry most of the time." The last suggestion is by Sleja Boy. Breaking a maze should leave the player with a heavy core. I feel like the heavy core wouldn't break very easily from smashing it against stuff, considering it is a blast-proof block, but it makes sense since the brace rod that the player is holding would get weaker and snap with use. So the player should get back on an enchanted heavy core if their mace should break. Rotten Tea Treaters wrote, "Good idea. I think it would be cool to have it to drop as a damaged heavy core, which needs to be repaired with netherite ingot in the smithing table." The OP responded, "Repairing it on an anvil might make more sense as you don't require a trim, but I think this is a good idea to add to the lore of the heavy core." And there you have it. These are some of the best suggestions of the week. If you are interested in what other suggestions the community has proposed, please check out this video.